There was a small room at the very end of the hallway, a space most people simply overlooked. It wasn't fancy at all. There was no stained glass, no dramatic altar, and certainly no choir seats ready for an angelic chorus. It was just simple, a single chair, a small plain table, and a lamp. That lamp, somehow, always seemed to glow softly. Even sometimes when it wasn't officially plugged in or turned on, people just called it the prayer room. This is the story of how Maya found it. It was on a day when her heart felt heavier, much heavier, than her actual body. Now, Maya's life hadn't fallen apart all at once, you have to understand. It wasn't a sudden catastrophic event. Instead, it had been chipping away slowly. One disappointment here, one unanswered prayer there, until one day she woke up and realized she couldn't tell the difference anymore between the tiredness she felt from the actual work she did and the profound exhaustion that came from the hope she kept losing. Everything felt hard. Everything felt confusing. When she walked into that room, she didn't actually plan to pray. The sheer weight of having to form words, to make a request, to summon faith, it felt like too much effort. She just sat down in that chair. The room was quiet. But it wasn't the uncomfortable, echoing, awkward kind of quiet. It was the kind of silence that instantly lets you breathe again. It felt spacious and safe. Maya stared at the floor for a long time. Then she looked at the table, running her finger along the smooth wood. Finally, she broke the silence, whispering to the air, "God, I don't even know what to say." Nothing dramatic happened, of course. No thunder rolled outside. No voice spoke back instantly. There were no sudden earth-shattering answers dropped right into her lap. But the silence, that profound stillness, didn't feel empty. It felt expectant. It felt like space had been cleared just for her. So she stayed. Minutes passed, maybe longer. She didn't check the time. She just talked, but not in polished, organized sentences. The kind we feel obligated to use when we pray in public or try to impress others. She spoke in fragments. She spoke about her frustration, about the constant, nagging fear. She spoke about gratitude, even though she felt profoundly unqualified to give thanks right then. And the tears came freely and fully, tears she didn't bother to wipe away. And slowly, something shifted. It wasn't her external circumstances, not yet, but the shift happened inside her chest. The tightness that had been squeezing her lungs for months began to loosen its grip. The constant noise in her head, the endless mental chatter, began to soften. The immense pressure she felt to have it all figured out, to be strong, to be okay, simply disappeared. It was in that quiet moment that she realized something critically important. God hadn't been waiting for perfect words or a perfectly formed spiritual request. He'd just been waiting for her to stop running. He was waiting for her to stop performing. From that day forward, Maya began coming back to the room. Her visits varied widely. Some days she came and prayed out loud, her voice raspy but clear. Some days she just sat in silence, meditating on the light of the lamp. Other days she just came and cried. But every single time, without fail, she left carrying a little less weight than when she arrived. The burden didn't vanish instantly, but it became manageable. Weeks later, she started noticing something else. The room wasn't just hers. Other people were showing up too. There was a man who would sit completely still, his face buried deep in his hands. There was a woman who came in and whispered names gently, names of people only she knew, prayers only she could offer. And then there was a teenager who often hovered near the door, clearly unsure if he even belonged in a place like this, uncertain about faith, but unable to leave the gravitational pull of the room. No one ever felt the need to explain the room. They didn't have to put up a sign or give instructions. The room spoke for itself in the quiet, simple way it accepted everyone exactly as they were. It was a place where burdens were quietly set down, where tears were not only allowed but expected, and where faith didn't have to be loud or impressive to be absolutely real. And one day, as Maya stood up to leave, stretching her legs after a long, needed sit, she realized the final, profound truth that changed her forever. The prayer room, she understood, wasn't actually a location at all. It was a posture. It was the moment you stopped pretending you were fine and okay. It was the moment you admitted, honestly, that you needed help. It was the moment you trusted, fundamentally, that God was listening, even when heaven felt silent, even when the response wasn't instantaneous or the one you expected. And the room itself, it was always open. If you've ever felt like your hope is chipping away, or if you feel like you just don't have the words to pray anymore, I hope Maya's story resonated with you. Sometimes all we need is a quiet space to just show up as we are. If you enjoyed this story, please let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching.